we're answering the question, which microphone should my band buy first? Let's start with some super simple microphone basics. Every microphone will amplify your voice and instruments, even the $10 ones. What you're looking for is good sound quality. In other words, that $10 microphone might make your voice loud, but you'll sound like you're in a fishbowl. The $1,000 mic is more likely to make your voice sound exactly like your voice. Our goal here is to balance the sound quality with the amount of money that you want to spend. The first things you need to know is that different microphones are made to be used for specific purposes. So that $10 mic is probably going to be fine to announce bidding at a local auction or to use as a prop in an air band, but it's not going to be so good for your band. The two most common uses for microphones are live performances and recording. For the most part, there's one kind of microphone made for each purpose. Of course, there's always exceptions, but those are best left to the pros. Generally, dynamic microphones are used for live performances, and condenser mics are used for recording. So before you even look at which mic to purchase, you have to decide if that microphone is going to be primarily used on the road for live gigs or in a studio for recording. To get the best sound quality, you need to match the right microphone to the job you want it to do. Condenser microphones are sometimes called capacitor mics because the electronics inside the mic uses capacitors. Recording studios love to use them because they have a greater frequency and transient response. Those technical terms mean they reproduce your voice more accurately. The downside is that they're very sensitive to loud noises, which is one reason why studios are often divided into small rooms that are well insulated for sound. One more problem with condenser microphones is that they tend to be very fragile until you get into the more expensive solid-state mics. The sensitivity to loud noises and fragility is why most bands don't take condenser mics on the road. A smaller issue is that condenser microphones require a power supply. Most boards can supply this power, but not all soundmen, especially in smaller church venues, know how to do this. Generally, condenser mics are more expensive than the same quality as a dynamic microphone. Dynamic mics can also be called moving coil mics because they use a coil and a magnet inside. Dynamic microphones are the mic of choice for most live performances because they're very durable. They don't have as accurate sound reproduction as condenser mics, but live music doesn't require the same quality as recording. These mics are resistant to moisture from your breath, rain, or humidity. They also don't require a power supply, making it exceptionally easy to set up at venues. So dynamic microphones are the best choice for most bands' live gigs. Most musicians buy dynamic mics first because they want one primarily for live performances. Recording studios usually provide their own mics, so musicians generally don't buy condenser mics unless they're setting up a home recording studio. Now there's a couple ways to go when buying a mic. You can buy a super cheap mic and replace it in just a couple of months, but I think this is a complete waste of money because you won't be able to use the cheap microphone for anything in the future. You can buy a super expensive mic, but again, I don't think this is your best option if you're just starting out because you won't know which mic is best suited for your voice, nor will you have the experience and the rest of the equipment to use the microphone to its maximum potential. There's a good chance you'll buy a mic that doesn't suit your needs for years to come. I think you should go with medium-priced, good quality microphones for your first microphone. A good quality medium-priced mic can be used for years. Start out using it as your primary vocal mic, and when you have experience and money, you can upgrade. The quality microphone can still be used for backing vocals, instruments, or as the primary vocal mic in a pinch. So here's my specific microphone recommendations. I think most bands are best served by purchasing Shure SM58s and SM57s as their primary microphone. The exception to this would be if your band has a techno geek, my word for an exceptional sound man who knows everything about sound equipment and keeps up with all the latest changes. If you have one, trust the techno geek and keep them happy because they're very hard to come by. Here's why you should buy a Shure SM58 or SM57 microphone. Shure has been making the best-selling microphones for over 40 years. They are the industry standard. These microphones are legendary for their rugged durability. They're almost, although I have seen it done, indestructible. Because they're so well known, every sound man already has experience working with them. They understand exactly what the microphones will and won't do on their particular sound system. They are directional microphones. This means that they're good at repelling sound from nearby monitors or speakers. In other words, they minimize feedback issues. They're also very good at picking up even if you're a little bit off axis without losing vocal quality. Off axis means not singing directly into the center of the microphone. The frequency is geared to the range of a voice with a good presence rise. Presence rise improves the intelligibility of the human voice. In layman terms, this is what makes your voice cuts through the mix, be more prominent than the instruments. It also means that the soundman doesn't have to EQ as much, and let's face it, in smaller venues, EQ often isn't done at all. This microphone gives you the best bang for the buck. Typically, you can find them on a good sale for about $100. Because they're the industry standard, there's always good sales. So what's the difference between an SM57 and an SM58 microphone? Well, here is a 57, and here is a 58. There's really just one thing that's different, but it matters. SM58s have a pop filter and ball grill. This means that the 58s have a foamy lining that you sing into. The lining cuts down on wind noise from your breathing as well as actual wind, and on popping, which usually occurs when you sing P's, like in the word pop. This lining is surrounded by a metal grill shaped like a ball. SM57s have a completely flat top. The insides of both microphones are identical and can be used in a pinch interchangeably. SM58s are usually used for vocal mics because of the pop filters. 57s are most often used as instrument microphones for a couple reasons. The pop filter isn't necessarily for P's or winds, and the grill makes the microphone larger on the 58s, so it's more difficult to get close to your instruments. So if you're a vocalist, buy an SM58. Get SM57s to mic your instruments. As you gain experience and want to upgrade your microphones, you can still use the 57s and the 58s in other areas of the sound system because they're well built and they'll last. Don't forget to check Amazon as you're shopping for the best price. They often have sales on mic packages. There's a link below for the SM57 and the SM58. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.